Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you may be. I am your humble host, Mr. David Null, also known as Hawkeye Two Feathers. I greet you with the love and the honor of the infinite creator. And I continue to pray that each and every day, each and every one of you will continue to learn how to accept and receive the healing, the knowledge, the wisdom, and the blessings from the universe. With that said, I wish everyone during this time of confusion to understand that we're in a severe time of confusion. And there's a lot of problems with some folk out there, and it is about the spirituality. It is about the spirit. So there are folks out there who are like, they're trying to explain what spirituality means to them using 3D terminology. Okay. So, in the Bible is the hell, heaven is this and hell is that, and, different scriptures, and it's this and that. So, over the years of my studies of what is spirituality, I've talked about my granny before who passed away back in the 80s. She was a very spiritual lady that had nothing to do with religion, right? And I, was with her a couple of days before she passed, and she just literally she glowed, in my opinion. And so I knew that her transition to the other side was, a good one. So understanding certain basic things for people and with people in this huge discussion of spirituality. There are many people who are like, I think are even confused about what is the spirit, you know. Well, if I die and you say I'm going to become a spirit, well, what the hell is that? It's energy. Well, it's sort of ghost like, but but I don't want to be a ghost, or I don't want to be trapped in some kind of soul trap or something. And everybody says I have a soul contract. Yeah, you volunteered to come down here. Okay, you volunteered. All right, and the contract is you volunteered to take this life as far as it would go, and to learn. Why are we here? We are here to learn and experience. We accepted this. So in this, and people say, well, but what will I become? Now, that's the rub. We already are spiritual beings. That now I've met some people that I didn't know if they had a soul, and what I thought or felt was a soul was really dark and nasty and ugly. But with that said, though, they still had some kind of spiritualism, even though it wasn't on the light side. They still had something going in there, darkness, but to the point. So there are all kinds of creations in this universe. And people talk about spiritualism as something that they're going to achieve. We already are spiritual beings. What we must do is to remember that we are already spiritual beings. We already belong to the universe. There isn't necessarily anything special we need to do. It's so simple, it boggles the mind, because it's like, it can't be that simple. But what if it is? Well, what do you mean, Hawkeye? It's be here now. Okay. Well, life is tough. I know you're always talking about how tough life is. Have you ever just accepted the fact it's life? Some folks got it tougher than others. We can't be envious because maybe in a previous life, oh, well, I don't believe in reincarnation. Oh, well, okay, let me see here. I'm having a conversation with myself and with you. But so in this question and answer period, it's like, but what if I don't believe in reincarnation? Well, then you're here now. So then I think maybe you might believe in oblivion. In other words, when you die, you're just going to cease to exist. Because if you don't believe in reincarnation, then you're not going to go anywhere. You know what I mean? So, but what is the spirit? We already are. The search for the spirit is forgetting everything that man has taught us. And so when there are people who go to a concert and they're caught up in the spirit of the moment, people feel elated and this and that and the other, and there are times when you're out on a mountaintop and people will describe it as it was so spiritual. Well, how do you know? Well, what is your explanation of what is spiritual? Well, I felt this great feeling inside, and I felt elated, and I felt this and that and the other thing. So you're searching for nirvana. You're searching for a utopia. You're searching for heaven when you just experienced it. What do you, oh, okay, Hawkeye, what the hell are you talking about? People are searching for something that they can attain at any moment, at any second, at any point in time. I didn't plan on this. The spirit moved me, as it were, and said, we got to have a chat here. Now, I do not intend to make this a long discussion, but I would like to be able to poke some folks in, in the arm and go, hey, do you understand a little bit of this? Not to be arrogant. I got to say, because there are, and I used to be one of these people, okay, where I had to come up with all these explanations of what the spirit is and what we're going to become. Wait a minute. We already are spirits. That's the first hurdle in this. So as a shaman, will I become a spirit, grandfathers? Asked one of the children. And grandfather looks down and says, you already are a spirit, my son. What? Yeah, you already are a spirit. Well, then what will I become? You will return to your natural self, to the spirit form. Well, what is spirit? Okay, a lot of folks, a lot of different points of view on this. We are all made up of atoms and subatomic quarks and and stuff, right? That is true. The collective in the universe, the source, is this gigantic universal cosmic quantum energy. It's all around us all the time. We can't get out of it. When we die, we're just going to become back, we're going to return back to our who we already are, but without a meat sack, right? So people want to attain a higher sense of spirit. You already are. That's the part. That's what's so simple about this. Well, don't I have to study Buddha or something? No, because there are people who have never studied Buddha that can sit on a mountain and have and feel the spirit of the universe. They have these spiritual moments, looking up at the stars or watching the moon or a sunset, whatever it is. You have these spiritual moments. Well, that is just one moment in time, but what created that situation? Your frame of mind, whatever was going on that was coming into your eyes and your nose and your mouth and your senses, right? So, but with those five senses that we have, when we feel spiritual, that other one kicks in, that sixth sense, which is always there. It doesn't go away. We forget. So we get involved with daily chores. We get involved with the daily chaos, which is everywhere. And so I would challenge folks to try this new lesson. It's called a lesson in ignore. And you're going to go, Hawkeye, you've lost your mind. Yes, I have. It's out there in the universe somewhere. And I have fun going out there trying to retrieve it, fishing poles, rod and reels, pull that thing back in. But anyway, so this lesson in ignore, there is so much stuff going on around there, out there, all around us, right? We have to learn how to ignore some of this stuff. Now, it doesn't mean we don't see it. I can acknowledge something's there and go, yeah, okay, I see that guy over there, wanting to do something, but I'm going to ignore him. I'm going to sort of keep my eye on, but I'm not going to get emotionally involved. I'm not going to lose any sleep or energy or anything. I'm not going to put any energy towards that. Now, to ignore it doesn't mean that it doesn't exist or that I'm trying to put it out of my mind. I'm just ignoring it. Okay. And what does that mean in this spirituality? Because our spirits, our energy that's in this quantum, always, we're always spirit beings. The attainment is the understanding that we are always spiritual beings. We don't become something else. We are that, period. Well, we have to do this test or something. Listen, the test and why are we here is so that we have chosen to be here for whatever reason. And now that doesn't mean that life doesn't have turns and notches and crap and, you end up being mind controlled or beaten or, just saying. When we agree to do something, there are future events that may not be able to be foreseen in the original contract because, quite frankly, shit happens. Other people, other entities, the universe is always constantly changing. So, what I signed up for, um, I agree. I'm here as a communicator to try to talk about things and to help people to remind themselves that you are already a spiritual being. To attain a higher level of thinking is to forget what we are in this body. But I know, but it's like, see, so every time someone tries to talk about something, they always try to use a 3D terminology for it. Well, utopia. What's utopia? Well, I can meditate, out there in the yard, and in my mind, I'm feeling great. I'm having this spiritual moment. Isn't that utopia? What is your definition of utopia? What is your definition of heaven? Is it a gilded, is this place where it's all flowers and sunny and everything? I'm sorry, I don't think I want that in life. In my next life, in my next lives. I realize I'm an adventurer, okay? So if we agreed to be here in the first place, I don't believe that we were forced here. Now, but um once we're here, we're forced to do a lot of crap. That's a separate issue. But when we understand that we always have been spiritual beings, that's our soul, that's who we are. That, and some folks are dark, and we can try to lend a hand and bring them over to the light. But if that's who they are, sometimes a snake is just a snake, and there's that's it. A snake's a snake. So, but with this spiritual awareness, you're aware that your spirit is always with you. You're always connected to the universe. Now, a lot of people talk about source, okay, and like me, um, but the source of energy is everywhere. It's not a person. It's not an entity. It's not a place. It's everywhere. Okay. So the source, good things come out of the source, but so does bad things. There has to be a karmic balance. Oh, well, I don't believe in karma. Well, I believe that you create your karma. I believe that now for me, I had done some stuff literally here on this property in a previous life. I did some nasty stuff back in the Indian wars and stuff like that, and Trail of Tears. I was a white redneck hillbilly and was not a nice person. And I had to come back and learn Indian ways because those are the people that I abused. And those are the people that I considered worse than animals. So with that, that's my life journey. But I agreed to come back here to try to correct it. So, and I know that in my heart and soul. So is it karma that I'm trying to work out? No, it's because of my soul journey from a previous life here as an asshole that I don't want to be that anymore. So my journey this time around is to not repeat something I did before that was horrible. Um, and so I want to not necessarily make up for what happened because it's already passed, but I want to learn from those mistakes. I want to learn. That's my karma. My karma is that I did something before, and I want to be able to learn where I went wrong. I want to be able to experience the other side of this. I want to, from a spiritual point of view, I missed something the first time I was here. I got caught up. I didn't remember who I was the last time. This time, my job is to remember that I am a spiritual being, always have been and always will be. When we leave this place, where do we go? Well, in my realm, in my understanding, is where do you want to go? Well, I want to go to the Pegasus galaxy and check out the Horsehead Nebula. Or I want to go, I want to go see this. Now, if I say I could put in my request that I want to go do that, well, I might end up as a purple alien with 14 eyes and a bug nose. You know what I mean? But I will go get to see it, and I will be able to experience it from another creature's point of view, or entity or whatever. But anytime any of this, I'm still a spiritual being. That's the bottom line. Regardless of what has happened before, and regardless of what might happen in the future, it's always changing. I'm still a spiritual being. That's the understanding. That is the basis of all of this. So, what are you searching for in books? What are you searching for in religions? What are you searching for in the cosmos? You're looking for a key to help you remember who you already are. Oh, shit. Okay, so what is the spirit? The spirit's energy. Well, say, okay, it's like an electrical charge. Well, I don't think that spirits exist. Okay, do you think that air exists? Well, I don't know. Can you see it? Only when the wind blows, or maybe when there's fog. But here's the thing, just because you don't see it doesn't mean it doesn't exist. So I'm looking out the window out here in the yard. I'm going, look at all that air out there, all that fresh air versus here in the house, right? So I can't see the air, but I know it's there. It is part of the universe. I breathe in the oxygen, expel carbon dioxide, blah, blah, blah. It's the cycle of life on this planet. Now, a lot of folks get confused, like, well, because their realm consists only of Earth. And just go outside at night and look up at the universe and say, listen, I am a child of the universe. And I say a child, that's an expression, but I am a spiritual being and I am a part of this universe always. I just forget. I forget to stay connected. Something pulls me away. So some of these things here's the lesson in ignore. I have to ignore some of this other stuff because it's keeping me from being me. It's keeping me from understanding who I already am. Oh, wow. I'm already a spiritual being. Yeah. So what are you searching for? When you do the internal work that people are still refusing to do because there are a lot of folks when I go into chat rooms and things, some of these folks, they're all still talking about similar things, and it's like, have you not learned a lesson yet? We've had these discussions and, and folks are, oh, I understand. But 3 weeks later, they're like asking the same question. Oh, I understand. I don't think you do. I don't think you get it. And because they're forgetting that there is a lot more to this picture than the Earth, okay? Or that the solar system. And in learning and understanding about the fact that we are already spirits, okay? This God and goddess stuff, I'm sorry, we are spiritual entities. I might be a female in another persona. Okay. I think I have been a female. But to the point is, are we androgynous? No, there are both sides of this in the universe. Males are more warlike, um, but in the spiritual awareness, we can still choose. That is what the quote, the rule of the universe is that we have free will. Now, some of us can get ourselves in situations like I got in prison. I broke a law. I didn't do anything bad morally, but I broke a man-made law and had to suffer for it. Okay. So did I break a universal law? Did I do it? No, but a man-made law. So, and I got myself into it. So here's the situation. We may suffer under the hands of others, but do we suffer under the hands of God? And what does this God phrase mean? Is source, giving me arthritis, or is it because I, have fallen out of trees and busted shit in my lifetime? I've got arthritis and, oh God, help me. Well, I shouldn't have done some of them things 20, 30 years ago. And am I paying the price? Yeah. So we get old, we hurt, I'm struggling this evening, by the way, but not, but with, so pain is foremost in my mind. And we all got to give a shame on Duggar because he ran up to the neighbors and barked at him and growled. I'm like, ooh. So Duggar's not on, he's on my crap list for the moment. I'm ignoring him. But anyway, but with this understanding, so people are struggling a lot with trying to find the spirit of things when you already are. So if I'm down at the river and watching the water flow and it's daytime or nighttime, there's skeeters, there's not skeeters. What the situation is helps me to create, because every time I go to the river, it's different. Um, they're similar, but it's different. It's a little hotter, cooler, no bugs, some bugs. So in that, each situation is unique, although they're all similar, because it's all part of the same place. It's all part of the universe, the spirit of the place. But when I'm there, I feel I'm more in the spirit. Now, why is that? Well, I sort of project it. If I go to the river, I know I'm going to feel more spiritual. So I've kind of convinced myself of that. Okay. But I also know that water has a lot of energy and connection with water and that type of thing. So, but in the understanding of all things, and that all things are possible, even stuff you would rather not think about. But in some circumstances and instances, we have to understand that a snake is a snake. Duggar's a dog. He's a dog. And he chases things. And he was out chasing stuff today, couldn't get him back to the house. He wouldn't listen. But a dog's a dog. You know, can I fault him for wanting to track something because he's got this keen nose and wants to chase stuff? No, it's who he is. So I have to try to help modify his behavior. Can I change him from being a dog? No, but I can ask him to not chase the cats, which he's doing much better. But now he's over at the neighbors barking at the neighbor. We can't have that. But he's still a dog. He's doing dog stuff, right? So I can't fault him for being a dog. So, but he chased the cat. Well, that's what dogs do. A lot of them anyway. So can we fault beings in the universe that, oh, well, he's a dark entity. Well, he's a lizard. Well, he might not necessarily have chosen to be a lizard in his lifetime, but he is a lizard, or she or it is a lizard, and lizards eat stuff. So you go, oh, he's a lizard person. Okay. Does he have the right to exist? Do I? From his point of view, I'm a decent meal. Maybe a little, rough around the edges. Not so much fat on me these days, but a lot of cannabis will probably get high if he eats me. But in the idea, though, that in the cosmic role of things, who's to say we weren't a lizard in a previous life? Do you really know that? And maybe the reason we're here now is because we were a lizard in a previous life, and we just want to, like, we didn't like agree, it didn't agree with us. So we got a chance to get back out in the universe, and somebody said, "Hey, planet Earth, got a bunch of, lizards over there. You want to help? Sure, I'll go. I volunteer." We all volunteered. Okay. So now this idea of that we are star seeds, I would like for you all to stop using that terminology. We are the sowers of the stars. We chose to be here. We're not seedlings, okay? We bring seeds with us, and it's the seeds of knowledge from our previous lives that we try to bring with us, and we forget because we become mortal, okay? So all of this spirituality business is trying to remember who we already are. We don't have to create a spiritual being. We already are a spiritual being. What do we choose? Do we choose to be on the dark side? Do we choose to work with the light? Most of us choose to work in the light. So we are, quote, by that terminology, light workers. But I don't consider myself a seed, okay? Oh, well, there's starseed children, starseed this, starseed that. I'm sorry, it gives me an upset stomach, all right? And I can't figure out why, because we're not seeds, okay? We have not been seeded here. That's to suggest that somebody just said, "You ain't got a choice in this matter. Here you go, just throwing stuff out there." No, I know, because I understand my spirit, that I made this choice to be here. Now, has it been rough around the edges? Oh, hell yeah. But I'm still accepting my mission as trying to be a communicator and to, quote, talk about spirituality. So people are trying to overcomplicate the simplest thing in reality. You already are a spiritual being. So what the F are you looking for? What are you searching for? Yourself. Some people need tools to open up those doors within. And I know some people are really bored with the, well, you got to do the internal work. Yes, you do. Why? Because it's the understanding that I'm already a spirit. This God, goddess stuff, those are names that people are trying to put on this. Okay. Well, angel beings. Okay. Those beings actually exist. But, to put us ourselves in a god or goddess position is like we're going to go out and somehow manifest electricity in a plasma ball with our hands. And right now, that's not going to happen for many of us. Doesn't mean it can't. But to the point, though, but what does that make us, a god? Big G or little g? And why do we have to be a god at all? We're already spiritual beings. We've been floating around this universe with all these other spiritual beings, alien, non-alien, good, bad. We've been mixing it up forever. And when we leave this plane of existence, we'll continue. Now, there are people who don't believe it. Now, I'm beginning to think that there are folks out there that are trying to convince folks that offering themselves to get out of their soul contract is like an option. We have a choice. And sometimes our choices are that people are refusing to accept or modify their behavior to accept why they're really here. Well, I want out of this realm. I'm tired of this. I want out. I want the expression, I want to go home. Quite frankly, there is no home. We have multiple homes. Our spirits have been all over the universe. The universe is our home. We're already home. And it just isn't the planet. It's that we're home in the universe. We're not alone. We're not orphans somewhere. We are still part of the universe. And folks that go, well, I don't know. That's like really hard for me to swallow. Why? Because it's so simple. That's it. The answer is so flippin' simple. It can't be the obvious answer, you know. But I must, I got to become a higher being. You already are. You just have to remember it. Well, I have to reach my over self. Over what? Your over self? What? You're, there's something over you? You want to overlord, over self, over what? No, 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 no. There isn't anything over us except us. Okay. Now, there are cosmic beings that could, literally fry us out of existence. And I think that some of the darker forces are literally trying to convince people to not exist anymore. I mean, literally, well, I don't want to be a part of it. I want to go home. Well, you're already home. No, I'm not, because you're convinced that you're not, because you have refused to accept and receive what's already in the universe, that you already are a member of the League of Like-Minded Beings. You already are a spirit. You're already here. But you must ignore the trappings of this world. Like Jesus said, you have to give this stuff up to come with me, to sit, with my Father. And so in that, of course, he's talking in an esoteric kind of way, in that, my Father, the bit, but so everybody said, well, he's this old guy with a beard, sits on a throne, so they took it from there. If you think Jesus wanted them to build cathedrals all over the place, he was a simple carpenter man. That was the last thing he wanted. So mankind has distorted many of the prophets to their own benefit. But what we get out of reading the Bible, I've got two of them over here, and I do read out of them occasionally, or at least the one, because there are words of wisdom in there. But do I believe in this God of vengeance? Listen, nature of the universe can be cataclysmic. Stars blow up, asteroids hit things. Oh my God, the universe, it is what it is. Oh my God, the earth, this and it. Listen here. If it hadn't been for, where did we get these mountains? If there hadn't been cataclysmic events on the earth, there wouldn't be mountains being pushed up, and the volcanoes wouldn't have made mountains. Listen, it is a part of the universe. Oh, but God, he's raining hellfire down. No, he's not. It's a natural course of events on a planet. You go to a different planet, different circumstances. But we only want to think about our current situation. So, in order to understand the spirit, and you've heard me talk about this, there is no box to think out of. Okay. Well, I'm going to think out of the box. Nah, get rid of the box. But what do you mean? Well, that means I'm going to think out of it. No, because there is no box. The universe is vast. Many people are doing, practicing with remote viewing and astral projection and stuff like that. So those people are already somewhat convinced that there's something else that they can do with their mind while they're sitting in one place. So they're going to forward think with remote viewing. Well, now, how can you do that? Because you're already a part of the universe. Edgar Cayce did it. Many other folks have done it over the years. Okay. And I think I'm learning how to do that in certain ways. Not to be like Edgar Cayce, but to be able to hear things and go, and then later on find out that, there's truth in this. But in all of this spiritual revolution, the revolution is with yourself. Well, I can't be a spiritual being. Why? Well, because the church, and the doctrine, and then wait a minute. They immediately tell us that we were born with a mortal sin. If Jesus died on the cross for our sins, all of us have been saved. That's bullshit. See? So we're already put in a situation because of the society on the planet that we're not good enough, that we have committed a sin by being born, that we are part of some group that was sent here, and we're on this planet because and there's hellfire and there's this, and oh my God, if we were just taught to be, you know what, you're a spiritual being. Who you talking to? You're a spiritual being. Well, I don't feel spiritual. I got, skin and bone, but you're spiritual. Don't you feel that something inside when you see the sunset and you take a deep breath? That's the spirit. It's always present. It's whether or not you wish to allow it to come out and to understand, oh my God, it's true. It's always there. I am always a part of this universe. When this body dies, I'm just going to transition back into who I already am. I won't be trapped in here. But here's the thing. Am I really truly trapped? I agreed to be here. Now, for those people who want to get out of their contracts, chicken, you made a deal, honor it. Well, but life is so tough. Oh, get over it. You're supposed to be learning something here. Well, life is so tough. Now, look, I used to be one of the biggest whiners, bitchers, and complainers there is. So I've been there, done that too many times over, and I finally have realized, holy crap, what a load of nonsense I fed to myself. I convinced myself I'm not worthy. I convinced through doctrine and folks, well, you're not worthy enough to be a shaman. Okay, but who says? Well, because, this guy over here, he's a real shaman. And I look at him and I go, not really. So I did this shaman search. And now I have sat down with true medicine men, in my humble opinion. And they have taught me these things. And so this awareness of the universe, you have to be aware on all these levels. So what is your spirit journey? That you realize that you are one. You don't become a spirit. You realize that you are the spirit. And you can travel out of this body anytime you want to. Now, because this body's still alive and because we choose to, we are connected with, our astral cord. Now, some people say it's silver. Other people say it's gold. Okay, whatever. Some folks are colorblind in this, just saying. But whatever it is, we are connected to this body until this body dies. Now, there are a lot of spiritual consequences, if you will, to folks who want to say, well, I can put a bullet in my head. I don't have to do this anymore. Okay. But in your contract, whatever it might be, you might have to go back and do it over again because you agreed not to end it. Okay. Now, I was on suicide watch. I've been thrown in the loony bin. I've tried to ram my truck into a bridge back in the day. Been there, done that. So, but offing ourselves does not get us out of what we agreed to. To be honorable to my own spirit, if I off myself, I have committed the greatest sin to myself because I agreed to do it. So I broke my own promise. Well, does Creator care? Do these people over here care? It's because you lost your own honor. I'm here to try to regrow, regain that knowledge, because I spent a lot of this life wanting to off myself because I refused to accept my mission, And once I quit fighting that, stuff got a lot easier, let me tell you. Life's still tough, but spiritually, things just kind of calmed down. I was like, okay, I get it. I'll do it. So, and for whatever somebody else's spiritual path is, that's up to them, right? But to try to get out of it and say, well, it ain't worth it, and I'm trapped here. Well, the trapping is in your own mind, and the trapping is if you understood that you are a spirit, then you will understand you're not trapped. It isn't a trap. It's an agreement that you should honor. Okay. And what's that going to get you on the long run? Because that is spiritual enlightenment. How does your spirit grow? Why are we here to experience something else? So we grow spiritually. And if I never went to the river, then I would have never had those experiences of seeing alligators in the wild, of being down the rapids, of doing all these, or getting stuck for 3 days on the river without food and water. But with that, all of those experiences, some of them were good, some of them were bad. But if I hadn't left the house or went on the river, I would have never experienced those things. So spiritually, we want to, cosmically, we say, I want to try this because I want to grow. I want to enrich my soul. I want to enrich my spirit. So here's this person that's going to get born, and there's the parents, and this is sort of a guideline. But remember, Hawkeye, shit happens in the universe. Your mission is still to be a communicator, but how you get there, that's the free will part. So we can make good turns, we can make bad turns. You can marry into money, you can be married to a drunken asshole who does have money or doesn't. Anyway, but the idea, though, that it's for spiritual growth, not just here on this planet, but when we leave here, it's what did we learn while we were here? Well, I don't know. I put a gun to my head and said, I fuck this. I didn't. I wanted it out of my contract. Oh, well, then you lost points in your spiritual development. Why? Because you offed yourself. Duh. Well, it was so hard. It was so tough. Well, because of the fine print down here, you got to go do that one over again. What do you mean? You got to go do that over again. It says here in the fine pan, in the fine print, if I off myself during the commission of this contract, I have to repeat it. So don't be stupid. Don't think that way. I had to change my point of view. I wanted to die so badly. I've tried hanging. I've tried drinking to overdose and running into shit. And I'm so glad that I didn't, because I would have not had the experience of you folk. I would have missed the experiences that I've had since then with the change of heart. I would have missed Duggar. I would have missed my adopted grandchildren who come and visit me once in a while. Real family don't, but my adopted family does. So I would have missed all that. And it has enriched my spirit cosmically, to the point of, oh my God. But if I had ended it, I would have missed it. I would have missed these other lessons. And some of them have been really cool. Some have been tough and rough, but at the same point, I would have missed it. And my spirit is adventurous. So, but in that, the reason I'm here is to become more enriched by the experiences of life. So maybe we voided a previous contract. Why is life so freaking difficult for you right now? You may have agreed to this because you messed up in a previous. Well, I don't believe in reincarnation. Okay, that's all right. Okay. So we have never existed before, and once I'm dead, that's it. Well, there's too much proof that there is life after death. Just saying. But you still want to learn to be spiritual. Then if you don't believe in the past and you don't believe in the future, then what the hell are you working on about trying to be spiritual for? What do you hope to gain out of this?
Well, gee, Hawkeye, I don't really know. Somebody told me about this, and I sat down on the front porch and smoked a doobie and thought about it, and I got so freaking confused. I really don't know.
And that's part of the problem. Not the smoking the doobie, but that some idea comes into your head and you contemplate it. And, I'm all for, hey, let's contemplate a subject. Let's talk about it. But at the same time, We have to stop and be practical. What's the bottom line of all religions? Spirituality. Is it about the religion itself? No. It's about the goal that the religion hopes to achieve, right? That you will become more spiritual. Okay. Right? All right. So in this exercise that most of the planet is doing this, uh, outwardly. Now, there are those who are doing the dark side, and they're here to worship that entity or that side. They're snakes, they're reptiles. They are who they are. We can disagree with them all day long, but they were born that way. Okay. I mean, Jeffrey Dahmer, okay, he had kinfolk in the fridge. So, people sometimes, as gross as we may think it is or that they are, that's who they are. Is it hideous to us? Yes. But to them, it's perfectly normal. Now, so let me put this to you. A if a normal human being, or wait, let me pull that back a little bit. Would a normal human being do those atrocities? And the answer is quite emphatically no. All right. Now, there is the Donner Party kind of thing that if you were forced into a situation and you were starving and there's a dead person laying over there, you're going to roast them over the fire to keep alive. Don't know if I could do it. I will volunteer a leg or an arm or something, anyway. But the idea, though, that in this, there are some folks that are just born that way. Don't like it. They don't fit into our social norm, but to them, it is normal. Now, I've talked with not necessarily cannibals, but being on the inside with a lot of other mental health patients like myself, I've had some really interesting conversations with some really honest to God messed up people who really need to be somewhere. As much as I don't like seeing people in caged, some of these people do not need to be let out on the street. That I'm sorry. So, but with that, sometimes that is just what it is. Now, in the ignoring of things, do we sit and worry about all the reptiles on the planet? Well, the queen's a reptile, and all these people are reptilians, and all these people are the Illuminati, and all these people are this and that. Oh crap! And then on the out on the outside of the planet, there are different races. Some of them want to blow us up. Some of them want to eat us. Some of them want to mutate us. And then there's the rest of us that just want to be human beings, whatever that might be. But we're all hybrids in one particular way or another. All right. But in this conversation of spirit, what is it? It's energy. All right. It is energy in its purest sense. Can we see it? Now, I've talked about this before, and I'm coming up on an anniversary date of when the house burned down back in 82 or 3, it was, I think. Anyway, but that spirit, Mr. Croft, he manifested himself so that he could shake my foot and call my name and say, David, get up. The house is on fire. I saw this person. I did not see through him. I saw him standing there. He moved my foot, which is what woke me up. And then he disappeared, and we got out with barely our lives. Now, with that, do I believe in spirits? You betcha, because I have been saved by a spirit. Was it a ghost? People would say that, but it was an entity, a spirit, an energy that could manifest itself, at least temporarily, to save us from burning up in the house that he built. So, my understanding of certain things and my seeing and experience of, when somebody wakes you up and your house is on fire and then they disappear, that's creepy enough in itself. But the understanding more over all of these years that it does exist. I don't just vapor. I vaporize, but I don't disappear. You just can't see me. I mean, old Mr. Croft used to sit in there were two rocking chairs on the front porch of this old house, beautiful old house. Anyway, and I'd be rocking, and that chair would be rocking right along with me. And I'd talk to it. I don't know who you are, but nice sunset, ain't it? Because the porch faced west. Anyway, so, but with that though, I also feel that because I was the caretaker of the house, nobody else would live in the house because it was haunted. I took care of the house, accepted the spirit, whoever he was. I didn't know it was Mr. Croft, but I accepted the spirit, talked to him, was respectful. I respected the house and kept it up. Something broke, I fixed it. So the entity knew that I was protecting something that he had built himself and that I was the current tenant, and he didn't bother us where he bothered other people because nobody else would live in the house. Anyway, and then it burned down. But with that said, though, I have an understanding. I know we exist beyond this body because of the proof that was literally shown to me and saved our lives. Um, so, how can I, in my spiritual awareness, say, well, that doesn't exist? Well, okay. Now, I've had this experience, other people have not. So, but if they stop their adventure by killing themselves or forfeiting their contract and saying, I give up, this shit's too hard, then they haven't learned maybe the lesson that they were here for. It may be tomorrow or the next day or right around the corner. It might be in 2 years. It may never come. But here's the thing, if you're searching for awareness and understanding of the universe, if you allow yourself to be open, and I don't mean controlled, but open to other ideas, and here's the problem. If you're open to other ideas, then you have to listen to some of this nonsense that, well, get out of your soul contract, kill yourself, end it, no, 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 please don't do that. Please don't do that. Please, 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 please. Oh, please don't do that. Because later on, because you don't understand that you already are a spiritual being, that you're going to regret it. Somehow deep in, I always knew if I kill myself, I'm going to regret this. And so I came close a couple of times, but to the point though, I am so glad I did not carry out those earlier feelings of mine. I wouldn't be here now, right? So what's to say that someone else who's having a hard time might actually have some time of spiritual thing, uplifting or something that will get them out of that mindset, and they will realize the healing, the knowledge, the wisdom, and the power and the blessings that are already in the universe. You don't got to go nowhere. You don't have to study anything. Now, it's good to read. I'm not trying to dissuade people because that is part of the adventure. Read an adventure book, watch a good movie, watch a good sci-fi. There's a lot of sci-fi coming true right now, just saying. But with that, that is our spiritual development. No matter how freaking hard it is, that may be the reason we're here, to correct something we gave up on before. So don't give up. Just look up for ways to say, I'm going to ignore those things that are bothering me that I really can't do anything about. The election, these people and stuff, we know they're there. We know they're bad. We keep an eye on them, but we ignore all the pratter that's going on around it. Because otherwise, there's our focus is being changed. We're being drawn over here. We're being drawn over there. We're being literally pulled apart in this cosmic realm because all these words and all these feelings are in the quantum. I talked about it last night. In that but there's so much confusion and chaos that's in this quantum right now that is the planet Earth. So it's really concentrated right here, right now. We're feeling overwhelmed. Everybody is. But is that a reason to give in? Is that a reason to give up? Oh, it's tough. Oh, you whiny shit. Get over it. And I'm talking, I had to talk to myself that way because I can't make this. Oh, my kids have left me. I'll never see my grandchildren, blah, blah. Well, a lot of that has come true, but I have met other, quote, grandchildren. I've met other people who have become family members and I would have missed all that because I was only focused in one particular way and not open enough to, well, there are other people out there who would gladly call me Uncle Dave or Grandpa Dave or something like that because they get along with me and we click somehow. Where family members, whatever, yeah, okay, Uncle Dave, bye, that's that. Or Grandpa, do I get calls from my Oh, hell no. But I get calls from other people's grandkids. I mean, other people's children, and we communicate. So there is a purpose in that. So I may have lost my grandchildren, theoretically speaking. They don't call or write or whatever. And I've tried to contact them, and that ain't working. So anyway, and I've tried other people to try to get in touch. It just ain't happening. So you give up at a certain point, to the point where I still love them, I still care for them, but I have to ignore all this behavior. I have other things I need to do in this life. And if it's meeting someone through a family, a friend or something, and they become a family member, if you will, that our extended family, like you folks are my extended family. I love you all. I do. We've never physically met. But in that, I feel a spiritual closeness with y'all. Not necessarily individually, it is, but it's more because of the format, it's more of a collective energy, even though I can feel your individual energies coming through too. But it's simply we're members of the League of Like-Minded Beings. To some of these folks, this is what I want to say. Get it through your thick fucking head. You already are a spiritual being. Stop with this nonsense. Oh, well, the soul contract. Oh, and the this and the that. Listen, you're here now. Do you want this to be hell or do you want this to be utopia? Sit down, close your eyes, meditate, and go to that happy place. You are automatically in utopia. It exists everywhere all the time. It's you want to go there, close your eyes, have a little, have it, and you can have it for a split second because it always exists. So, feeling down, feeling bad. The other day, I was like being grumpy to myself, and I was like, I have got to get out of this. Whatever this is, I was just like, oh, well, I think I'll just sit here and look out the window and oh, hum. And, I was like, wherever that was coming from, I'm like, adios. It wasn't a depression. I just was like, just staring out the window. But I realized, I got to break whatever this hypnotism is, whether it's cosmic, whether it's this confusion. That's why I did the video last night. It's my awareness that I was being caught up in this cosmic confusion. And that, wait, so the first thing to getting better is aware that you're sick or aware that there's a problem. So the next thing is that, do you want to fix it or do you want to give up? So my choice has always been, how do I fix this? Or how to, the roof's leaking. Okay, better get some tar. Well, I might need a new piece of tin. Okay. But to the point though, my roof still isn't fixed. But anyway, I bring that up because it's on my list. But it's way up there and I'm way down here. But anyway, so the realization though, that it's there, the realization that remote viewing, yep, possible. Astral projection, absolutely. That's what saved me when I was in prison. I could go from Tampa in my mind back to the house that eventually burned down when I got out of prison. That was my home at the time. So I would go back there at night and I could hear the hogs feeding and I could smell the farm, And so that saved me because I could find utopia even in prison, even under what a lot of people would consider extreme circumstances. Now, we weren't necessarily tortured, but being in a small cage all the time, it wears on you. It just does. So, but I could go to my happy place to keep me from going insane. And so while in prison, I excelled at my job. I became a trustee. I was, cleaned up the kitchen. Well, I'd worked on the carnival and kitchens. I knew how to do that. So I applied my knowledge to working there as a trustee. And other people, well, why are you trying to do such a good job? Because then they promoted me. And I didn't have to kiss anybody's ass or do any kind of, sucking of any kind of bodily whatevers. I did it because I was true to myself. I did a good job because I'm proud of the work I do, regardless of the situation or conditions. I'm in prison, still going to do a good job. They saw it and said, hey, how would you like to be in charge of the stock room? Well, okay, boss man, what do you say? Well, I was eating filet mignon, fresh vegetables. I gained 20 pounds while I was in prison, and it was all muscle. I came out buffed, man. I could lift 50-pound bag of potatoes in either hand. We used to do exercises with bags of potatoes because we didn't have weight room. We used to do chin-ups and pull-ups and push-ups to stay in shape. Oh my God, I was so buffed. Anyway, but so there were places to go while in prison, but it had to do with where you went inside. So that internal work, it's like, but I understood that I was still always a part of the universe, even way back then. And that because I'd practiced, I already knew about Edgar Cayce, and I had whoever was buying books, um, they were putting some. I knew about ley lines and things long time before anybody else even talked about it, and a lot of other different types of things. Because whoever was buying me paper books while I was in jail, it was for the prison library thing, but they were brand new books on topics like, secret, psychic mysteries behind the Iron Curtain. And I'm like, what? Oh, let me read this. I ain't got nothing better to do. So, but with that, even in jail, I turned that time that would have driven other people mad in reading and diving into the, astral projection and understanding what the ley lines meant and certain points on the earth and blah, 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 which is all that information, even though I was locked up, I still use some of that information to this day. So, but was I in prison? Yeah, physically, but not mentally, because I understand that I am a spiritual being and you can't take that away from me. I've always understood it at some level. And I've got way sided, way laid along the way, a lot of it my own fault, to realize I've had this all along. Oh, crap. That I've let other people and religions and things to sway me to think differently when it's been there all along. And it will continue to be there. We are always walking in the spirit if we choose to do so. If you want to bitch and complain about everything that's going on, then you ain't walking in the spirit. You're walking in the confusion. Now, we can have a discussion about the crap, but we can't live in it. What do you mean by that, Hawkeye? Because, that's where we have to ignore some of this stuff. We see it, yeah, okay. We saw that over there, yeah, okay. I hate that dress on that guy. It just makes him look fat. Or that girl over there with the earrings, they dangle down to here. She looks stupid. We just look at it and go, okay. We don't remark. We don't make comment. We don't become emotionally involved in any of this. That's who they are. But we see it. But we're going to ignore it from an emotional standpoint. Oh, okay, that's interesting. Oh, but I hate these people. I hate their. We got to stop that. And there are some folks in the spiritual world who, but I hate these people. You ain't being very spiritual because you're throwing this hate word around a lot. I disapprove. I don't like what they do. That's appropriate. But when you start throwing that hate word around, then you have just, whatever spirituality you thought you gained, you have just tossed it out with one word. And the feeling that goes with it. I hate them. It's because you don't understand. They're lizards, they're snakes. A tiger is a tiger. You try to feed him a tomato, he's going to eat your hand, right? And just think that the tomato was a garnish. But you can't take certain things out of certain people. And would a normal human being want to lock down the wait, would any normal human beings want to lock us down the way we are? Would any normal human beings? And the answer is no. So we have to think above this spirituality and go, wait a minute, that means that humans aren't really in control of the situation. OMG. Oh, so my spirit is worrying about, oh, Trump did this and Biden. It's more than that, folks. We got to get it. We have to understand it because it's affecting our spiritual, is it growth? It's our spiritual understanding because of all the confusion. And the more of us who are becoming aware, oh crap, I've been a spirit all this time. They lost one, you know what I mean? Now they got to try to get, well, we lost this guy over here. Oh shit, he realized who he is. Holy crap. Now we got to try some other mind. We got to try to some other shit, because, oh my God, the people are waking up to who they really are. Wow. Now, after talking about this for an hour, it is really very basically simple. It's so simple, it hurts. You already are a spiritual being. Now, the development and the growth of that is, what do you choose to do with it in this lifetime, in this particular moment in time? Because in 3 months, stuff's going to change. Don't know where, don't know how. In 2 years, things are going to change. Don't know how, don't know where, but nothing stays stagnant for very long. The universe is in a constant state of motion. And for people to think that things are going to remain the same, grow up. It's not. It's not supposed to remain the same. Now, should it go down these really dark alleys and tunnels? No. But we're only a part of this group, right? We would like to see it go this way, and they would like to see it go that way. Regardless of which way it goes, you have to be responsible for the self. Because when you make the transition, ain't gonna matter for diddly about where anybody else is in their spiritual development. It's going to be your ass on the line. You're going to be standing yourself, theoretically standing before the pearly gates talking to St. Peter. You're the one that's going to be standing there, not your neighbor, not your cousin, not anybody else in this community. We're going to have to deal with it singularly as our spirit beings. So the whole point of taking care of this now is so we won't have to go through some of this other stuff in any world, in any other experience, because we have learned it and felt it and experienced it this time around. Now, I could go to, the Perseus, constellation or something, and find beings there, and there's a whole different set of circumstances that may be similar. But the experience, I mean, I go down different rivers, right? And I go down the same river all the time. It's cool, but there's no excitement in that because I've been around this bend a bunch of times. But to go on a different river and to go around a bend that you've never seen before, that's the adventure. Still a river, still a canoe, still a kayak, but it's the adventure of a new river. So the river of life has many adventures. Do we choose to sit on the bank and watch it go by? Which we can. Or do we, wish to participate and become a part of that river of life? And it ain't just the earth. That's the part of this. We have to think in bigger terms. It's more than just here. And if you agree that you're on a prison planet, then you are, because you accepted it. Okay. Now, I went into this construct for a while. Explored it, went around. And so I've been into this, trapped earth syndrome too. But in some of my later on, I started realizing that my experience in prison was just that. When I was in prison, I still had my mental, spiritual freedom. So if I'm on a prison planet, I can still accept that I'm still a spiritual being. Whether I've been kicked around, knocked around, and I'm back here again, that's not the point. I am still a spiritual being. That hasn't changed. And it's not going to change. What will change are the experiences I add to my spirit and to the overall experience for me in the universe. Now, it's not to say that we shouldn't be compassionate to other people. That is part of the journey. But in the end, who's going to be standing in line in front of St. Peter? Me. I have to answer for my behavior, my soul journey, whatever it was that I agreed upon. I have to face it, not anybody else. So, no offense to those on the other side, but F you people. I don't care. If that's what you want to do, I don't agree with it, but I have to protect my own spiritualness because I'm going to pass on from this plane and I want to be ready. So if I'm going to be worried about all these other things, then I ain't ready. If I'm going to allow myself to think that I'm imprisoned, and I may get to the other side and go, oh, crap. But that's not the point. I can't worry about it now. I have to make sure that my spirit being is maintained and it makes it through this cycle of my journey in the universe. And I come out with a better understanding than my previous time when I was a redneck asshole that mistreated and abused and probably killed a few, and Native Americans who I feel very close to and proud to be associated with now. So sometimes we have to see that other side. But back then, that was sort of the accepted thing. For me, I realized, and I took this journey so I could correct myself. I could learn and understand. Why did you mistreat them people? Because you didn't understand them. Why did I treat them badly? Why did I mistreat them? Why did I think they were crazy and upset and wackos? Because I didn't understand them. Now, I understand that Jeffrey Dahmer liked eating people. I don't have to like it. Okay. And I don't necessarily have to respect it or honor it. But he was who he was. And to thine own self be true. So to him, he was serving his spiritual purpose. Now I recognize it. Again, I don't agree or like it, but we have to say sometimes a snake is a snake. We can't make him into anything else. A tiger ain't going to eat lettuce and tomato for lunch. So these things that we must accept because it's a part of the universe. Well, they constructed this and this is and that. Okay, I'm in this 3D realm right now. Here's a cup. Let's say hi to Bob and have a drink of coffee. I need to make fresh coffee. But anyway, in this construct, this table is real, this computer is real. So, oh well, it's just part of the matrix. Yeah, okay. But to me, at this moment, that computer is a solid object, and I'm looking through a camera and watching myself and Well, I'm not reading your comments, but I see myself on the monitor here. So that is real to me. Oh, well, is it a movie? Is it part of the Matrix? It's a dream? It's not reality. Well, but yes, it is. Let's stop all this other nonsense. But when we realize that in the spiritual world, does any of it really make a difference? Depends on how we use it. So, but does it make us more or less spiritual? Depends on what where you're going with this. But yeah, well, we live in this matrix, so everybody's all they talk about is the matrix. They're literally convincing themselves to not be spiritual because they're hung up. All they talk about is the matrix. Well, we're all part of a matrix. There's all this matrix. Okay, we are. So, but now what? How do you want to participate within the matrix? I was in prison, yeah, but I became a trustee. I worked in the kitchen. And then I became the chief dog of all and was working in the officer's dining room. I went from being locked in a cell to working with, all the mayor was there one time that I served, and the sheriff's department. I went from being in a holding cell to that within 6 months by being who I am, by being, we didn't tell them we were making hooch, okay, but everything else was on the up and the up. We weren't stealing anything or trying to create or hurt anybody, but we did our jobs, and they rewarded us by giving us a little black and white TV that we could watch in the stock room. They allowed us to play cards in there, and we could bet money, and they just overlooked it. So there were things that we got out of the deal. Okay. But for me to be in a holding cell and then be promoted to the highest quote, prisoner in the place, I gained the respect of those people within the jail. And they were like, man, I know you really want to go home, but we're sad to see you go, Dave. Good luck. We really don't want to see you back here again, but it's a pleasure to meet. I mean, folks the guards shook hands with me when I left because I made that kind of impression. And that was way back then, in the 70s. So, but can we make a change? Can we affect where we are in prison without having to, give up our moralitude or human? No. Now, does it work in every situation? Maybe not. But can you affect a change in the simplest of ways? Absolutely. When you understand we already are a spiritual being. It's what we choose to do with that information and how do we proceed in the future. So I promised I wasn't going to be in here long, and it's been an hour and 17 minutes. Loretta Enigma, I was meant to be a teacher, always been mistaken for one. Slightly slanted. Hi. Hi, Isby. Is Isby in the house? But anyway, there was a book years ago, back in the late 60s, early 70s, called Be Here Now. And I think I still have it, but it's a little collection of poems. But the simple fact of to be here now in this moment in time and to be the best that you can be. Now, if you're an asshole, then I guess be a good asshole. But, anyway. Hi, Delaney. How are you? I went to jail after beating a hose ass with no holding my purse. Delaney, I'm sorry, but I sort of had a little video play in my head as I read that. Anyway, I'm sorry. Project Skyfalls, even slightly. Chloe's in the house somewhere up there. Gotta go. Okay, she's out, and I'm going to be out of here too in a minute. There's other folks going to come on and other stuff, but this was just on my mind, and I was like, man, I'm not going to make this a long video, but it needs to be said. People are searching for something that really is, they already are. But we all have our journeys, and that's part of the deal. Is be mind. Okay, how are you? Loretta, Michelle, Chloe. Chloe says, I'm mommy to a bunch of God babies and a bunch of people older in age than I. Yeah, I know folks like that. And good luck with that. And I mean it. Chloe says, we can't blame our past experiences. We are to be and comprehend all walks, types of being, experience, understanding, being, playing our part. Yeah, and you can, there's something, and I'm going to wrap it up with this. And I love you all, I do. I realized that I had made myself a victim. Okay, so, well, I'm going to give up because all this crap happened to me. Okay, so, but then instead of moving on from having a flat tire, you know, well, the flat tire had held me up, and then I had to do this, and it upset me for a whole day, and then and so a flat tire became this other thing. Flat tire is just an expression. But so, our days can be, we've had a flat tire, we've had a hiccup or something, and life would be really easy if it weren't for other people. And this has been a thing that this guy told me way back in the 70s. And, he was like, we can plan to do, we put up steel buildings. Okay. So he was like, if nobody messes with us, we can do this in a day and this in a day, and we'll have the skin on by the third day and the roof on by the fourth, and we'll have the doors and everything completed on the fifth. We're out of there a week, where some folks would take 10 days. So, but then people would come and slow us down, or the crane operator wouldn't show up. So we were there, we could do our jobs, but it was other people that held us up from getting our jobs done. So there are things in the universe that will try to, steal you away. But for gosh sakes, don't allow yourself to become the victim. Well, it's too hard. Victim, is it? Or are you just allowing it to be too hard? Have you really tried to get change? Well, I don't know. Well, maybe you have to move. Well, I don't want to move. Well, then waller in your in the dung. Well, I don't want to move. I can't move. I can't do. Then you're in a sad situation, because then you're going to end up homeless. Okay. So, but if you wish to honestly, I know it's a crappy choice, but I've got to do something to get out of here, to do something. And so you, instead of giving in and giving up, and there's no way around it, you've already sealed your fate. I can't find a way around it. That's it. Don't know what to do. Okay, so then ask for it. The answers are in the universe. They're in the darkness, like Bear suggests. The answers are always in the darkness. They're already answered our questions that we have. We must stop and listen to our spiritual self for the answers already given. And the more I see this as my own spiritual awareness, it's really true. So I hope you find it, and I hope, and help your friends to find this, because a lot of people are struggling with this spiritual thing, but they're trying to relate it to a 3D experience, and that just ain't happening. We're smoke on the water. Okay. Fire in the skies, deep purple. I love you all. Be kind, be sweet, be compassionate, and above all else, remember who you already are. Without any, take the makeup off, take your mask off. Take this mask off and look at you in the mirror, if you will. Look at the man, woman, child, that other being. And if you see, if you look in the mirror and there's a reptilian staring back, don't be surprised, because some folks that might actually be who they were in another life. What? I was a lizard? Yeah, but I'm here now because I really don't like being a lizard. I don't like people, just never got the taste for it. Now, a good curmudgeon on a Sunday, roasted over the fire, then that's a good meal. But anyway, I love you all. Be safe, be kind. And as always, I do mean this. because what would be the purpose of saying it if I didn't mean it? But I continue to pray each and every day that each and every one continue to learn to accept and receive the healing, the knowledge, the wisdom, and the blessings from the universe. Each day I continue to pray in my own humble little weird way down here as a hermit in the hermitage. I continue to pray that each and every one of you, your friends, your family, all of your relatives, and all of your relations, past, present, and to come, will learn to accept, receive the knowledge, the healing, the wisdom, the blessings, and all that good stuff from the universe that's always there. And as that rule of three applies and the law of one applies, I continue to pray that each and every one of you will continue to learn to accept, receive, and to share as many of you have been doing. And I'm proud of you. Continue to accept, receive, and to share the healing, the knowledge, the wisdom, and the eternal blessings from the universe. So with that, my friends, until later, I know I just jumped on here and I think there were 17 people at one time. Mossy Man, how are you? Pure love back to you. Project Skyfalls, Loretta Enigma, Barry Chad, good to see you again. Isby up there, later everybody. Maverick, are you in the house again? I'm working on that 7 hours that you guys want. Wait, he got a date. I told you they've been feeding food. Isby says, I'm not getting notifications most of the time. Yeah, and there wasn't any notification, by the way, Isby. I just was here. The sun was going down. I finally got the dog back in the house. Duggar was a bad dog today. No special treats for him. But anyway, and I just got on here, so you may have not gotten a warning because sometimes, but anyway, I'm Isby, as much as I, don't agree with it, it doesn't surprise me. So when Michelle, Mossy Man, Project Skyfalls, Loretta, Isby, as always, Maverick, howdy, till later. I don't know if I missed anybody. If I did, I still love you. Thank you for being here. Jody, maybe you've been in the background. Sorry if you just got here. We love you. And until next time, I got some other topics that need to come up. But remember, you are already a spiritual being. Please, please, please understand that. That is really key to all of this mess. It really, really is. So, and we every single moment we have the opportunity to make a change. I was sitting here being pissed off about this subject and why are people so, distraught about this idea of spirit and I was like, well, okay, let's do something about it. So here I am and, and so my point is I could have chosen not to do this. But at the same point, I chose to, and you all showed up, and now we had this discussion, and now it's out to the universe. So if you think you don't have any choices, you do. If you think there's nothing that can be done, there is. You just haven't figured it out yet. Thank you, Michelle. And I've never asked you to do it, but you do it freely because you feel it's necessary. And that's what's important. To the universe, I speak these things, and to you all. But with that, so the message is shared as it's needed, required, as other folks need to share what they have learned. And I thank you. I'm very graciously and humble. But, it would be, from my point of view, it would be arrogant of me to say, share my videos. Because with that said, that is saying that my point of view is so important, you need to share it. Now, I do these videos, you choose to share it. Not because I've told you to, or influenced you, or tried to make you feel guilty if you don't. It's your choice. It's your free will. It's your spirit hearing the universe and saying, I think I need to share this. Like other channels that I have shared with folks. But to the point though, I personally, because of this subject matter, I'm no, if I was the slingshot channel or I was wood carving or something, I'd say, hey, share this video. But I can't do it with the spiritual side of things because it just it just isn't right. But I thank you for what you do. So anyway, until next time, my friends, be safe, be kind, be sweet. See you on the flip side, right? TTFN. All right. That's code for ta-ta for now. Love you all. Bye.